Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Ika Vat. In today's show, we take a look at how Taiwan is helping victims of humanitarian disasters around the world. Ukraine has received its first Asian medical team since Russia's invasion. The team of doctors and nurses was from Taiwan. Let's take a look.
35-year-old emergency doctor Wu Peishan is saying her goodbyes. She's part of a Taiwanese medical team going to volunteer in war-torn Ukraine. She says she's both excited and nervous about going.
My mother is very worried about it. So she also go to the temple to pray for my safety.
The team of 10 will spend 12 days in the west of Ukraine, treating soldiers and other people affected by the war, as well as training Ukrainian health workers. Battling off Russia's full-scale invasion for more than a year has taken a massive toll on the Eastern European country, including its healthcare system. Taiwan is the first country in Asia to send a medical team, and they have the backing of the country's leader.
我要借这个机会谢谢我们的医疗团，让世界能够再一次看到台湾的贡献。
This is just the latest contribution from Taiwan to the war effort. Ukraine may be more than 8,000 kilometres from here, but the country's determination to defend its freedom has struck a chord with Taiwanese. In the more than 400 days since Russia invaded Ukraine, Taiwan's people have continuously donated goods and given millions of US dollars in aid. Oleg Shin, a Ukrainian living in Taiwan, has been raising awareness and funds since the outbreak of war. He says Taiwanese support has been unwavering.
Taiwanese people themselves were historically either endangered or oppressed, and they know what it is like to be in a position when your own identity and your statehood is questioned and claimed and contested.
Many Taiwanese look at the situation in Ukraine and see what could be their own fate. Just across the strait from Taiwan is China. Beijing sending military ships and planes into the area around Taiwan is becoming the new norm, as China ramps up pressure on the democratically ruled country.
我要跟大家说，过去这几年国际情势真的有很大的变化。那么我们今年也持续的会有很多的挑战。那政府一定会坚持，让台湾的民主、自由、人权的价值能够更深化。
And it's those shared democratic values that have inspired Dr. Wu and her colleagues to volunteer and help Ukraine, finding camaraderie across the world in the face of a larger foe.
Rick Lowrett and Leon Lien reporting. One of Taiwan's biggest humanitarian NGOs is a Buddhist organisation. I met two Tzu Chi Foundation volunteers, a young couple based in Poland who are helping Ukrainian refugees. This is their story. Monica and Łukasz, tell me how you came to be part of Tzu Chi.
So after the war has started, we felt like we have to do something. We couldn't imagine that it would happen to us. So we started bringing all things that we had at home, like water, clothes, towels, everything that refugees who were coming, masses of refugees were coming to Poznan. We brought it all to them, but we felt that it's not enough. We felt that we have to do something.
When we are weakness, like a couple million of people are suffering, only two of our hand, not able to hug everyone. But if we are able to cooperate with NGO, then maybe we can let those couple million of people got hugged or got helped. So I believe this is very important to try to combine those resources and then gather more people so we can help more Ukraine families right here.
This tradition of giving hugs. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and why you think that's important?
Because during the time, actually, when you are being through the difficult thing, like 1,000 words, I think a hug is better than 1,000 words. Yeah. So for us in Tzu Chi, that in very interesting and nice spirit is they show cares. That people feel that we care about you. We not only come here like our job because I'm doing volunteering and giving you food or give you something and my job is done. No, actually what we provide is emotion and mental care.
Can you tell me what you were doing, what sort of work you were doing And you were based in which city in Poland?
We are based in Poznań, is in the west side of Poland. At the very beginning, we started with distributing food and first use items like toothbrushes and
rice, noodles, like basic food that they can quickly grab and then eat immediately. Yeah.
How many refugees were you seeing every day at that stage?
So first thing they teach us is contact with government. So we try to reach out to government, then government offer us a place for free. So we can have a place to store things and then to help people. So we provide some simple food like rice, noodle, and some simple life using like a toothbrush, toothpaste, so they can survive. At the very beginning, in the first stage, we do 400 people. And right after that, because we notice when people coming, every day is really much more people than we thought, than we planned actually. So especially they all asking for do you have panties? Do you have socks? Because when they run away from war, they don't have a chance. They probably have 30 minutes to put their whole life into one suitcase. So we think about, okay, we need to give them a bit more identity.
So we contacted one of the biggest supermarkets in Poland, and we bought, thanks to City, of course, we bought this kind of gift cards that allowed people to go to buy whatever they need. So one card had approximately $400 on it.
So are you working full time on this now?
We are having our own jobs. We work at different companies. Monica is working for the IT company. I'm working for the company that produces mobile games.
Actually, a lot of people ask us, like, hey, are you full-time worker for Tzu Chi? We say, no, we are just volunteer.
Yes.
We do everything till now, everything for free. And we got nothing. We just provide our time and trying to organize people, trying to get more people who are willing to help, to provide like more.
This spirit where all the volunteers just provide their time and their own resources to help is what we really treasure and what we really look up to. We really enjoy doing this.
How does Tzu Chi manage to create this spirit?
After our distribution and after we actually very beginning we do the sleeping bag, 5-star sleeping bag, and send to every city who needed emergency. And during the time, actually all the European members, they come to Poland. They use their own time, they use their own vacation, they pay for their own traffic, they pay for their own hotel, and go there, they even buy material themselves from their own pocket and come here to help. That is the thing that really let us feel like, wow, that is incredible. It's like that is amazing spirit that we really respect it a lot. So we follow up, we like to do the same. And thanks to that, we also inspire more people. Like right now outside of our door, there are like 50 family from Ukraine, and they are some of our volunteers. They are from Taiwan, they are from Poland, they are from Ukraine even. And they are come here to help for free as a volunteer. And a lot of them, they are even got help from City before. And they say, hey, we want to do something too. We don't want to just receive, but we want to give. Since July, we start have a home visiting. We are visiting those family every day in different home and try to make sure what is their exactly need and let them feel they are not lonely. Another thing we notice is they are diabetics. Patients also, they cannot get controlled by doctor because even Polish government provide the service, but they have to register and they have to wait for 6 months to 1 year. So for them, a lot of the kids, they got this kind of diabetics situation. They have to do injection the medicine to themselves 8 times a day. So we cooperate with another NGO foundation. Last year also we start trying to provide them this biotic check and make sure that do they affect their vision, how to adjust their the medicine. Yeah, and also from this year, last month, we start cooperating with Poznan University Hospital, trying to provide a dental service for free. A lot of kids here, they also have this kind of problem. Luckily, the professor, the doctors, they are really also offer their warm hand So we're trying to arrange few families already have received this free dental service.
So what happened recently in the occupied territories? Actually, a lot of people here, a lot of people from Ukraine who were struggling with living in Poland were forced to go back to Ukraine.
Because the rent is too expensive, and a lot of
Yes.
Polish family, they are really tired because this already too long time have one people you don't know living in your home. Actually, everyone will get tired, especially the infection rate, make everyone's economy
Yes.
situation getting worse.
Polish families' economy is also difficult.
So a lot of them forced to have to go back to the Ukraine.
To their own homes in the occupied territories. And what happens now is that Russian soldiers come, they force those families to leave their homes again, and they put the Russian families inside of Ukrainian people's homes.
So imagine you like saving whole life of your money to finally to buy your own home. But in the end, you go through this kind of situation. You don't know what to do. A lot of them, they have to go to the shelter, or a lot of them, they have to stay in the basement and no heater and no electricity. This kind of situation are seriously really difficult so far.
We don't have to just stand and look at it. Thanks to Tzu, we don't have to just be the witness, but we can also do something about it.
The faith-based organisation, which Monica and Łukasz are a part of, operates in more than 60 countries through a network of millions of volunteers. Tzu began in a small house on Taiwan's east coast in 1966, where young Buddhist nun witnessed extreme poverty and vowed to alleviate people's suffering. She had just 5 disciples and 30 housewives. Last month, the CEO of Tzu, Yan Bo-wen, sat down with me in Taipei. I began by asking how his NGO makes it to almost every disaster across the world.
All Tzu volunteers receive extensive training, including both classroom instruction and practical experience in their local communities. And one of the distinguishing factors for Tzu volunteers is their unwavering commitment to Master Zheng's teaching. The teaching of feeling others' suffering as our own. This motivates Tzu volunteers to carry out humanitarian aid, humanitarian mission, without needing to be mobilized by authority. Instead, they are kind of self-driven, driven by their own mission-oriented spirit. So that's why Tzu volunteers can quickly mobilize themselves to respond to any crisis.
Can you tell us about what Tzu is doing for Ukraine?
We provide more than 81,000 refugees the support through 363 distributions there. We also partner with 11 esteemed NGOs, including UNICEF, Red Cross, to provide the 30 refugee service centers in 9 countries, as well as we provide shelter and cash cards and health care and medical treatment and psychosocial support and more, benefiting over 1.4 million refugees in neighboring countries.
And is that a model that you use in other parts of the world to partner with the local NGOs?
Yes, we did, yes.
And how many volunteers do you have globally now? How many millions?
Oh, it's near 1 million volunteers worldwide. 10 million is our donors and supporters.
And turning to your personal story, you were the CEO in UMC,
Yes.
United Microelectronics Corporation. Is a huge global chip maker, but based is a Taiwanese company. What made you give up that high salary and high-tech career to join Tzu?
In 2015, Tzu had faced significant public criticism, primarily due to a contentious issue surrounding a development project in Taipei. So after that, Tzu Chi was undergoing reform of its board of the directors. So at that time, I was started to engage this reform for its foundation.
Was it a culture shock to you to move from that corporate world, a high-tech, fast-moving corporate world, to an NGO, to charity work?
Transitioning to a faith-based non-profit organization after serving for 32 years at one of the world's top-tier semiconductor manufacturing company, that was indeed a big challenge and a risk for me, and as well as for Tzu Chi.
But Master Zheng Yan cherry-picked you. She saw a connection with you.
I have become more familiar with Tzu Chi's operation. I have become, I have experienced more the culture shock as well. And so this is a very two different organizations.
One is for profit?
Yes.
And one is for compassion?
Actually, in many aspects, such as vision and mission, core values, core competence, shared values, and governance and daily management, etc. So my focus is doing my best to merge the better part of these two organizations to make Tzu Chi become a stronger one, and hopefully with minimum negative impact.
In Taiwan, Tzu Chi's influence and power was felt during the pandemic because we had two high-tech companies, one of them TSMC, that was able to secure vaccines for Taiwan when we had a shortage. But Tzu Chi was the third organization that managed to do that.
In the very beginning stage of the outbreak of the pandemic here in Taiwan, and at that time the people are kind of in a panic because short of vaccine for most of Taiwanese people, and we are glad to provide Tzu Chi's efforts, join with these two outstanding companies, TSMC and Foxconn, expedite what we can do to help to purchase the vaccine for Taiwanese people. So not even consider how much money we need to spend. So that is the situation at that time.
I mean, on the environmental side, Tzu Chi has the environmental mission, and there are recycling centers all over Taiwan.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what happens and who comes to those recycling centers? In fact, it's not just in Taiwan, it's globally too.
Yes, I would say that is one of the greatest invention by Taiwan Master Zheng Yan. And she say she encouraged, especially the elderly people, and to use their applauding hands to do the recycling, and environmental protection volunteers. They're doing this kind of recycling work very, they feel very meaningful, and they are, must say, they are kind of a doctor of the planet. They are trying to protect our environment and protect our next generation.
The volunteers, Tzu Chi takes, recycles the plastic and then makes them into useful things such as clothing,
Yes.
bags, that sort of thing. So there's a level of innovation as well
Yes, yes.
that is occurring.
And it turned out to be a kind of the circular economy. And so we transform those recycling material become eco products, like a blanket. And like I'm wearing now, the suit is made from recycling PET bottles. So
That's
this
amazing.
this is wonderful, and I would say this is a great contribution to this work.
Yeah, and it started, the recycling efforts at Tzu Chi started 10 years before the government started recycling.
They are kind of feeding the positive energy from recycling station, and they vow to master. They want to do the recycling to the last breath of their life. So they claim they don't need long-term care. They can take care of themselves. So that is, I would say, most valuable thing.
And in today's world, you know, countries around the world suffering from disasters, man-made natural disasters, as well as natural disasters. In Buddhism, what do you believe about the cause of these disasters?
Actually, we think that is human-made disaster, because our desire, those bad habits, cause that kind of disasters, like global warming. That's why Tzu Chi encourages people to become a vegetarian or plant-based diet and go a kind of life in a very simple way, to reduce unnecessary consumption. We call it responsible consumption, and also doing the recycling, to try to minimize those the waste or pollutions. And that is a very basic way to truly improve, truly mitigate the climate change issue.
And finally, Master Zheng Yan is in her 80s. Can Tzu Chi carry on its mission once Master passes away?
That is one of my focus. I would say, the biggest focus right now, to secure Tzu Chi's long-term sustainability. So I'm focused on to streamline Tzu Chi's operations, and also recruit and cultivate young talents for Tzu Chi's long-term sustainability.
And the spirit of Master Zheng, will that continue in the millions of volunteers around the world?
And that is a challenge, but we are committed to doing that. To meet our master's her wish to really spread her teachings and her philosophies to this world. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yan Boyan, thank you so much for joining Taiwan Talks today.
Thank you very much for.
That was Tzu Chi CEO Yan Bo-wen. The death count from a huge earthquake and a second lesser quake that hit Turkey in February is now believed to be between 50,000 and 60,000. It's the deadliest earthquake in Turkey's modern history. Taiwan has sent 2 rescue teams and donated $2 million, with public donations of much more. This report from February marks the return of 1 rescue team.
After 9 days, the Taiwanese search and rescue team has finally returned back from Turkey. The team, consisting of 130 members and 5 dogs, arrived here at Taiwan's main international airport by charter flight from Istanbul. Altogether, they saved around 10 people from the rubble. When the Taiwan rescue team came out of the gate, they were met with applause and a heartwarming moment between father and family. It's the deadliest disaster in Turkey's modern history. Team leader Huang Bo-chun described the difficulties in the rescue.
比较困难的地方就是因为我们有转机的过程中，因为不熟悉当地的天候、气候，还有它的运载，那么有一些的装备器材会在寻找。
Taiwan sent a rescue team to Turkey within hours of the disaster. And aside from sending a crew, Taiwan also raised $16 million for the victims.
有一些机具还有装备，我们希望能够现地留给土耳其的这个搜救队伍未来在进一步执行任务跟工作的时候可以使用。那陈院长也立即指示，只要能帮忙的，我们一定全力的来协助跟支持把这份国人的一个爱心留在土耳其。
President Tsai Ing-wen has pointed out that Turkey was quick to respond after Taiwan's massive earthquake in 1999, which killed 2,500 people. And officials say it's time to return that favor.
Howard Zhang and Bing Wang reporting. Now leading the operations for Tzu Chi in Turkey is Faisal Hu, a Muslim and a resident there for 24 years. Here's his story. Being on the ground there, how are people feeling? Is it possible to get an idea from you how devastating this is?
There is a man, old man. He come to me. He don't know I can speak Turkish or Arabic. No, he don't know. He just hold my hand and he cry. I'm sure because I saw his clothes. It was like street, and also this man maybe is a rich man or maybe a powerful man, but an earthquake hit him, and after earthquake, second day he became like everybody. So when he see me, he didn't say anything. He just cried, and he just make his hand hate like that. We give them almost like the 10,000 lira is like about $550 only. But I'm sure in this very difficult time, it's very helpful for them and it's meaningful for them. From some people from very far, from 8,000 kilometers far to Turkey and help them. I think this is unforgettable. I mean, the people, they will understand love is unlimited.
That sharing of love, I know, is the philosophy, I guess, of Tzu Chi. Tell me what motivates you. I mean, you've been in Turkey now since 1999, so 24 years.
This is the picture of the Mecca. I'm a Muslim. I'm from the Muslim family. So many people, they surprise and they have question mark. Why you're Muslim and you join this Buddhist activity or Buddhist organization? So I also, in the beginning, I mean, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, first time I see the Master Jen Yan. Also, I have this question mark. I say, I want to bring the Tzu Chi to Turkey, but what should I do? So she says, you should forget everything like nationality, skin color, and religion, and you just need one word. I say, what word? She says, this is love. The love is without border. Love is without religion, without nationality, without skin color. You just leave this word. This is Tzu Chi. So in Tzu Chi, I find out what Allah wants me to do. I have to do. This is motivate to me and be a better Muslim.
And you mentioned that Master Zhang Yang told you to forget everything. You know, like you said, skin color, identity. Have there been any difficulties at all in terms of, race, skin color of a Taiwanese man in Turkey?
Okay, when I am 15 years old, I went to Libya because I cannot pass my examination of the high school. So I went to Libya to study there. Of course, at that time, Libya gave the scholarship to the Muslim students in Taiwan. After I come back to Taiwan, I couldn't find a job because nobody wanted at that time, 30 years ago, nobody wanted who can speak Arabic. So I could not find a job, and I find another chance to go to Turkey. In Turkey, I'm doing business. Until 10 years ago, I see the Syrian people, refugees in the Istanbul. I find out why Allah sent me the Libya to study Arabic. I can help the refugees, Syrian refugees in Turkey. Even they cannot communicate each other, but I can, a Taiwanese, I can help them to do the translation.
At the age of 15, is that when you converted to Islam?
Before that, actually, before that, before
Okay,
that, my family is a Muslim family. Yes, Islamic
okay.
family. Yeah.
So can I ask you how come your family is Islamic?
If you go to the Guangzhou, there is Guangzhou Fair place. I mean, you can see the tomb. The tomb is a 41-person tomb. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is his uncle. Name is Rauda bin Waqas. Rauda bin Waqas, and he together 40 people. At that time, they come to China to do business, to do the trading. So they died in the China, and at that time, they also bring the Islam to China. Of course, there are some people move from the north part, like the Xinjiang and the other place, to China. So bring Islam to there.
The collapsed buildings, obviously in Turkey, there are reports that many of them were not built to code. There was an amnesty where the government had allowed building contractors, this amnesty, a sort of get out clause. How difficult is it in your work to spread love when people might not feel love towards everybody?
That you cannot believe, even in the beginning, when we send a message to people, I will say, please come tomorrow to this place to take your gift. And the people think is a cheating group. So when they see us, then they surprise also. Police surprise also. Then people come to us. They say, how come you really give this gift? You don't know me, and I don't know you. Why you give this one? I say, because this is love. And because you need help, and in this time, we're here. We are care you. Okay, I think that so many people, they don't believe in this 39,000 families. Most of people, they don't believe they can get this shopping cart. And when they get it, of course, this cannot equal to what they lost. They lost their family, they lost their collapse of their building, they lost their car. And even one building is already 2 million, is 200 times of what we give to them, 10,000 lira. But they understand it's meaningful.
Have you been criticized for wanting to recruit people to Buddhism?
Okay. Actually, the people have question mark why these people they come. Then when they check from internet, they say, "Oh, this Buddhist," and they understand this Buddhist activity. I remember first time I see the Master Jen Yan. Also, she told me in the 50 years ago, she was poor person, and she stayed in the Taidong. Name is Lu Ye. Every day she's passing by one church, and she's going to the mountain, and every day passing by church, and in front of church she's doing like that, respect to the church. She said because the Christian and also Catholic, they help Taiwan a lot. So if the people in the earthquake place, they challenge us, I will tell them what my experience to them, why I'm a Muslim.
Do you believe then that you can spread enough love?
I think in here we show Taiwan love and we show Tzu headquarter, and I mean inside in the Tzu we have the almost 11 million the member and so many volunteers. All of us, because love, we are stand with the people who need us and need love. So in this time, difficult time, we stand with them. We understand one day they can stand up and they can love others. So if everybody love others, this world became the peace and became better.
That was Faisal Hu speaking with me earlier. Now, despite Taiwan's strong international participation, it's not recognised by the United Nations. James Chater and James Raynaud report on the last UN General Assembly.
At the UN General Assembly in New York, global leaders rub shoulders and declare their positions on the world's most pressing issues. But there are no delegates here from Taiwan. They have not been able to participate since 1971, when representation of China at the UN changed from Taipei and the Republic of China to Beijing and the People's Republic of China.
Para que incluyan dentro de estas reformas el derecho de Taiwán de pertenecer a esta organización y ser reconocida como nación porque se le ha negado por uno de los países permanentes en el Consejo de Seguridad.
The Guatemalan president referring to China in his remarks. Taipei's former allies also criticized heightened Chinese military activity near Taiwan since US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan.
This has threatened to disrupt peace and security in the Indo-Pacific region and across the globe.
US President Joe Biden also stated his position on Taiwan for the first time at the UN General Assembly.
We seek to uphold peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. We remain committed to our One China policy, which has helped prevent conflict for 4 decades.
He told an American media network that Washington would defend Taiwan if China attacked, casting uncertainty over the US policy of not stating clearly whether the US would offer Taiwan military support. However, on rivalry with China, Biden was clear.
Let me be direct about the competition between the United States and China. As we manage shifting geopolitical trends, the United States will conduct itself as a reasonable leader. We do not seek conflict. We do not seek a Cold War.
With Taiwan absent from the UN, others have had to speak on the country's behalf. But as concerns over the Taiwan Strait ascend global leaders' agenda, Taipei's absence from the body is getting more difficult to ignore.
While Taiwan itself isn't a UN member, Tzu is very much part of the United Nations NGO system. The head of its US quarter, Deborah Boudreau, explains why.
Deborah, let me ask you, what is Tzu's status with regard to the United Nations?
Tzu has been granted as an economic, social special consultative status in 2010. Economic and social Council special status is an INGO that has been recognized and supported by the United Nations systems, and to allow Tzu can be part of the INGO to enter into the UN arena to join the humanitarian relief works.
I'd like to understand Tzu's standing within that sort of international framework that you spoke about.
As a Asian, as a faith-based organizations, as an entry level, is no one know who you are. You want to engage, participate this kind of humanitarian relief works. It's not an easy task. For example, when Ukraine, the situation happened, we joined the daily cluster meeting, and very lucky because of the technology, so we can use the Zoom meeting, cloud meeting to understand what's happened. For example, recently, Turkey earthquake. And immediately we joined a cluster meeting. The cluster meeting all the time coming from more than 40 or 60 INGO on the ground, and everybody share what's happened, what is the urgent needs. So the position we have is engage, participation, and always share what kind of capacity we have. Like Turkey's this time, the center in earthquake centers, there's a huge need for food, especially hot meal. The weather is so cold, so really need a hot meal. And that day we joined a cluster meeting. We heard about World Central Kitchens is going to deploy it and they're going to serve the hot meal. Then immediately we talked to them and they set a station for the networking that we provide the services. Our position is engage participation and share what we have and request support from our partners. And those partners has been built up for long-term trustworthy partnership. So when Tzu Chi make a plea, ask for support, the partners will say, okay, Tzu Chi is asking for support. We know who they are. We can provide the advanced support to them. So that's the partnership capacity building.
And so, again, what I'd like to understand is there a particular sort of unique contribution that Tzu Chi tends to make?
Tzu Chi has 4 major missions and 8 different programs. One of them is environmental awareness. So when the disaster strike, like Ukraine and then Turkey, Tzu Chi's plastic blanket, eco-friendly blankets, is the most powerful relief support for the residents around the community. When we talk about mass care support during different disasters, like in Haiti before or some other countries, we provide pre-cooked rice, and then we provide the noodle soup. So those kind of basic food during the disasters for we call livelihood support and mass care integrations assistance, that's all part of the procurement team that UN Family is looking into it. However, for Tzu Chi's, the strength and capacity is how to deliver this kind of love and tender care to the community really in need.
I was very interested to read Tzu Chi's belief in terms of disasters, whether that's human-made or natural disasters, and I wondered whether you could share that with us.
Okay, the Tzu Chi, we have very strong beliefs, Buddhist in action. So Master Zheng Yan teaching us, the Buddhist is not owning sutra study, is not owning meditation, is not owning staying inside a temple to do chanting. The Buddhist in action is going to the community to reach out the vulnerable. You have to be in action to do the practice. And the practice is from your heart. You're willing to reach out to them. For example, I just shared with you that the plastic blanket, the eco blanket. The eco blanket is made by plastic. And the plastic is a group of volunteers. They spend their effort to separate the cap, the ring, the wrap, and then to clean the plastic and and invited the entrepreneur, the textile entrepreneur, and to become a blanket. So this blanket is really turn the trash into love. And for recently the Turkey's earthquake, a lot of time people just say immediately emergency response for stage 1, provide hot meal. But Tzu Chi already provide the livelihood support. We provide cash card to allow them to have a capacity to buy some basic needs, some necessities. And when we provide the cash assistance, we also sometimes give them a capacity to feel dignity. The dignity allow them to be able to provide services to serve the community. So they are not just vulnerable. They still have capacity to turn around to helping people. And the cash assistance is not just giving the money, it's also helping them to track their financial capacity, and most important, to empower the local community, the economic to thrive, to stand up.
At the societal level, what does Tzu Chi believe happens when there's a deficit of love and the positive emotions and compassion?
When we talk about that, like currently, because of the Ukraine war, and the situation is become more and more challenged. The inflations and the deficit, and people cannot find a job, and also have mental issues. It's not easy topics. The society has so many negative energy around us, but we need to come back to reflect, repentant, to self-reflections, what we have. We have to treasure at this moment what we have. From what we have, to think about how can we balance ourselves. So we have a project called 80-20. 80-20. People always think about, I'm already have not enough food. I'm under malnutrition. How can you ask me still share my food with other people? Okay, but Master Zheng Yan always remind us, everyone, we have capacity. If I have a bowl of rice, I can eat 2/3 of the bowl of rice, but I can share another 1/3 to other family. So I can continue have my energy, my food. At the same time, I can helping people. So this kind of mindset and attitude is really, everybody have to think about it. Why Master Zheng Yan, during the September 21st earthquake in Taiwan, built up more than 51 schools. And those schools, for how many years now, how many students has been graduate from there? Because they have turned in the negative environment into positive education platform, give them the hope to receiving education.
Hello, I'm Ian Kavat of Taiwan Talks. If you liked our show, please search for us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe to our channel. Feel free to leave us any feedback in the comments section. See you next time.